Next time you talk to your curtains, ask them, what more can you be doing for me? Because the answer is probably a lot. They don't like to tell you this, but they can change your whole room. So I just finished switching up the window treatments in my own bedroom, and I wanted to share because I feel like this is one of those projects where the impact to effort ratio is like, so I thought I would share with you not only what I did, but more so why I chose to do what I did throughout the process and how, so that you can apply these concepts to your own room if you so choose, because spoiler alert, there isn't one way that's going to work for every room. So let's talk about it. So with any sort of makeover, I think it's good to start with figuring out what is not working with the current situation so that that can guide what needs to be addressed in what you're changing. So I think it makes sense to start with the function of the thing. In this case, the window treatment is there to control the light. What type and level of control is going to depend a lot on the space, the room, the direction that the windows face, the size of the windows, your preference, so on. So we're going to use the windows in my bedroom as an example. Here are the window treatments in my bedroom, and they're somehow failing in both directions with light control. So the way that the curtains are hung means I can't open them enough to expose the whole window, which means there's always going to be some amount of sunlight blocked. And similarly with the blinds, even when I have them open, the slats of the blinds still block quite a bit of light. Ironically, they also do not block enough light when I want it to be dark. So I need to address both of those issues. So the next thing you want to be considering is the aesthetic aspect of all this. So I bucket this into two different categories under aesthetics. One is like what the actual window treatment looks and feels like. So like, is it patterned? Is it solid? Is it colorful? Is it neutral? Is it vinyl or linen, and so on? Like tactically and visually, what is the window treatment like? And do you like it? The other thing is, what does it do for the window itself? It's like, is the window treatment taking a back seat to the window because you have some gorgeous window with beautiful molding and like you want to let it shine? Or is the window treatment trying to like amp up a window that otherwise doesn't have much going for it, which is the case for me, and I feel like a lot of people. Does that make sense? Let's look at my window again as an example. So I feel like these curtains could be doing a lot more for this room aesthetically. First, they're literally laying flat, so they don't add much dimension to the wall. And while they have a little bit of pattern to them, I want to take this chance to pull in something bolder that will help tie the room together more. They're also doing nothing for the window itself. These are basic builder grade standard size windows, and they also have a lot of blank wall space next to them, which makes them feel even smaller. So I want to use the curtains to basically trick myself into feeling like these windows are grander than they are. The curtains have arrived. This is what I ended up getting. I got these Roman shades for the windows, obviously. But I picked out this pattern. It has a rusty orange and green on this linen fabric. And I think that will pull together like the color scheme of the bed and the cork and the ceiling nicely, but also add like a totally different element. They're also lined with this light blocking fabric, so that means I'll be able to put these down and like not know what time of day it is, which is exactly what I want for days when I want to sleep in. I also got these to hang with the Roman shades. However, this is like a completely different green than I thought it was going to be, and I don't think I'm going to end up using them. I was all mad until I looked back and realized that this is exactly what it looks like online. I just had my like night shift on my phone. So I thought this was way, way darker, but it's my own fault. Anyways, I think I'm going to maybe just poach some curtains from a different room in my house and hang these somewhere else. So yeah, let's get started. First thing was to take the old stuff down, and it's all perfectly fine. So I plan to drop it off at like Goodwill or a restore because waste is depressing. These little brackets just come off like that. So take them off, attach them obviously, and then put this back on. Looks pretty straightforward. but it really wasn't for me because I decided not to measure the depth of my window casing and it didn't fit. So I had to remove the molding to be able to fit these brackets in there. So yeah, don't be like me, measure. How do I do this? Like that. Yeah, baby. Okay, and then I think this comes off so that you can like hide that a little bit. Nice. Cool. Okay. Yeah. Cutie. So the way I pick the spot for the bracket is pretty casually. I just put the curtain on the curtain rod and like hold it up and eyeball where I want it. So the main things I'm looking for are that it's far enough to the side of the window that you can open the curtain past the side of the window. So you're not blocking light unless you want to be. And then I also want it to be higher than the top of the window. It helps make the window look bigger than it actually is. And I personally just like a little bit of a gap visually between this color line and this color line. So I'm not putting it all the way up, although you could. So that's just preference. This is all just preference. The first one's the easiest because you're not trying to like align it with anything on the other side yet. It's hard to mess up the first one. Unless you happen to be on a stud, you should use a drywall anchor. So I'm taking measurements from the window casing and from the ceiling so that I can transfer that over to the other side and make sure that the second bracket is symmetrical with the first. Don't stress too much about getting this exactly the same as the other side. Just try and hold the tape measure straight out from the window casing and straight down from the ceiling and you'll be fine. Your eye is not going to pick up on like a 1/4 inch difference side to side. We're just going for like visual symmetry here. Whoa. I chose to use these pleater hooks to create just a basic pleat in the curtain. This is totally optional, but if you do want to do it, make sure to buy curtains that have pleating tape at the top. So I'm just using those large loops as reference points and then counting out an even number of the small loops to each side before inserting the pin. And by adding these, it will make the curtain look just a bit more structured and like elevated, which is what I'm going for here, but it just depends on what you like. Now, since I'm using the pleat hooks, I need to give them something to hook onto, which is where these curtain rings come in. These I think are from IKEA, but there are like a million options online. And I like to hook the curtain onto the rings once the rod is up on the wall. So I'm just threading them all on here first and then hanging the rod up. Now it's just a matter of hooking the curtain onto the rings, and you can start to see here what the pleating does for the curtain. It adds a nice dimensionality to the fabric, and you know your curtain's going to pleat in some way when you open it with or without the hooks, but the hooks just add a nice structure and like evenness to the pleats, which makes it look a little bit more formal and clean. And what do you know, I decided I would do the same exact thing to the other window. All right, these are really not that bad since I took them off of a different window, but I'm gonna just freshen them up with a steam. If you were to take these straight out of the package, they would definitely need steaming. Steaming the pleats is also really helpful to help them lay in the way that you want to. So I'm just steaming them and then kind of like bunching them up so that it reinforces the way that I want them to fold. I mean, I don't know how evident it is on camera, but the windows feel like they're 2 times bigger and the ceilings feel like they're at least a foot taller. It's crazy. It feels like a totally different room.